Hello and welcome to the weekly outlook at xm.com. I'm Maria Pachurdes, and joining me is investment analyst Marios Hadjikyriacos. We'll be taking a look at the week ahead. So Marios, next week will be action-packed. Let's begin with the European Central Bank. Do you think there's a strong possibility that this Thursday the ECB will increase the size of its new quantitative easing program? And how might the euro respond if it does?
Hello, Maria. Yes, I actually do think they will expand the QE program. And the main reason is there's no sense in waiting. They will most probably have to expand this program over the coming months. And if they wait, it would really be counterproductive. It might give rise to unwanted speculation about whether the program will be expanded at all, and that could undermine their previous stimulus efforts. So I think they're going to expand it. Now, the question is, how does the euro react? Normally, when we're talking about more stimulus, about any currency, it implies a negative reaction. However, when the ECB first enacted this QE program back in March, the euro actually rose because the thinking was, yes, this implies slightly lower interest rates, which is a negative for the euro, but at the same time, the stimulus might help the recovery and future economic growth, and it therefore mitigates a lot of macroeconomic risk. And that positive effect was enough to overpower the negative effects, and it helped the euro to gain on the announcement. I think something similar will play out this time. Now, looking beyond this week, whether or not the euro can sustain any of its gains will really depend on how the negotiations between EU countries about the recovery fund play out.
Right. Now, turning to the U.S., non-farm payrolls for May are due out on Friday. Should we expect another drop? And what are the risks for the dollar?
Yes, we should expect another drop, a pretty sizable one of about 8 million. Now, the question here is, the markets have really ignored the scary economic data in recent weeks. And the thinking was, we already know we're in a recession. We already know that things are bad right now, but we also know that things will improve in the coming months. So investors really shrugged off the scary data on the way down. However, there's no guarantee that they will also ignore the improving data on the way up. So in this sense, I believe that the risks surrounding the dollar from this employment report are tilted to the upside. If we get worse than expected data, investors might just shrug it off as another piece of bad news for May. We already know May was disastrous. It was a little bit worse than we expected, but it doesn't change the narrative. So the dollar might drop on worse than expected data, but only slightly. On the other hand, if we get stronger than expected data, that could signal that the month of May, which was probably the peak of this recession, wasn't that terrible. And that could therefore trigger a more powerful upside reaction in the dollar.
And finally, the Reserve Bank of Australia and the Bank of Canada will also meet next week. Is any action expected? And how are their currencies likely to react?
Well, let's start with Australia. No action is expected, so a lot will depend on the tone of the accompanying statement. I think that tone will be slightly more optimistic. So some recent comments from the governor of the Reserve Bank, he implied that there are signs the labor market is bottoming out and that things aren't as bad as they previously thought. So if that much is reflected in the statement, that could help the Aussie gain a little bit. However, the bigger driver for the currency will be what happens with the US-China tensions. Now, in Canada, we don't expect any action either, but this will be the first meeting under the new governor. So I think that investors will tune in to get a sense of his views on policy. Is he dovish? Is he hawkish? And how might policy evolve in going forward? Now, in a nutshell, this isn't the time to be hawkish. So I think that he will most likely not rule anything out in terms of stimulus. And if he keeps the door open for negative rates, for example, that could hurt the loonie somewhat on the news.
Marios, thanks so much. And thanks for joining us at xm.com.